experiences I've ever had going to the movies.
Now, I know some people found this movie fun, but me, I'd rather spend 2 hours having root canal work done.
It's a terrible film from beginning to end.
You know the theory of reincarnation, where the dues we pay in this lifetime, we may get to collect in another lifetime. For having seen this movie, I want months and months and months in a beautiful valley.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, we give it a 3.
Well, maybe it wasn't that good. Let's give it a 1.
A tisket, a tasket. Mike Myers' career in a casket. His job's gone sour. His career gone south. Any more bad movies, and I might just put a gun in my mouth. Welcome to Bombs Away, the Bad Movie Comedy Podcast. My name is Tyler Rowe. Joining me here inside the studio, as always, is...
Peyton Bieber.
What was with the boss?
Because I couldn't think of anything that rhymed with my name, so.
Peyton Beaver. And...
The gay in the way, Jarrett Cypher.
Oh my god, these are awful. Almost
as bad as this movie.
I was gonna say almost as awful as Dr. Seuss's Tarnished Legacy. Yes. Again, this is Bombs Away. Welcome to another beautiful, gorgeous bad movie review. The first of Mike Myers films we've covered on this, and which Mike Myers film might that be? Well, if you saw the title of the episode and you clicked it, obviously you know there's no mystery at this point. It is 2003's Cat in the Hat, starring Mike Myers, Dakota Fanning, Alec Baldwin, Kelly Preston, Sean Hayes, and Spencer Breslin, the older brother of Abigail Breslin. Directed by Bo Welch, who, if you've seen this movie, who he is will make a lot of sense, but not as the director, because he is a production designer. He worked on Men in Black 1 and 2 as the production designer, Edward Scissorhands, Wild Wild West. So he has a very, like,
Shoddy.
No, he has
It's
a very like
stylized.
Yeah, very whimsical approach to production design, which this movie definitely has. But you know what it also has is a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes and an IMDb score of 4.0, which is shocking because typically it seems that the Rotten Tomatoes like aggregated score is lower than the IMDb, but I guess people just outright hate this movie. So
I can see why.
Oh god, let's just get right into it. This was like, I think, the second to last movie that he made, Mike Myers, that is, before he just crumbled his career in front of all of us with the Love Guru.
Well, so this is his. How many bad movies does he have? I can't think of many.
It's this was around the time.
It's this one and Love Guru are like the two bad ones. Yeah,
this is and then he did the right thing and was like, yeah, you know what? I'm done acting, and just like dipped out for a good while after that. He did. Oh, I'm sorry. Shrek the Third was in between these, and you know that's and Shrek 2.
Shrek the Third wasn't too bad.
So, you know, he was making Shrek movies, and then he made The Love Guru in 2008, and then he has that little bit part in Inglourious Bastards, and then he basically did not show up into anything real again until when he did that terrible Terminal movie that we talked about just recently, and his bit part in Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And it's sad for someone as prolific as he was.
Yeah.
I mean, no one. We're all just stalling talking about the movie. By the way, it's like, well, it's a shit movie.
It's like you might not know who he is. One of the most recognizable names in Hollywood.
Yeah. Well, Dakota Fanning, Alec
He does
Baldwin.
have a new movie coming out in October, doesn't he?
It's a
Halloween Kills.
Oh, yeah, he starts killing a lot of people for his career.
He's actually in the next regular movie that we're covering. Or no, he's not in the next regular movie that we're covering. It's very confusing. There's a lot of big names in this movie, which is, again, like, it's kind of one of those, like, how could it fail? And it's like, I don't know. Did you see How the Grinch Stole Christmas? Like, this is essentially just
How the
the
Grinch
same.
Stole Christmas is good. It has
Are you
a lot of
sure
heart
about
to
that?
it.
over the years.
It's a lot more polished, I'd say, than this movie. This movie seemed like a obvious cash grab.
Really, because
Well,
when I watch like How the Grinch Stole Christmas, it looks faded. It does not look
It
polished.
doesn't,
It
yeah,
even has
I
like a
liked it.
faded tint in it.
It's
and
a good
also
one
that
though.
movie's directed
It's
by
probably one of
Ron
my.
Howard. Does it look like a Ron Howard
Yeah, that's
movie?
true.
Like, do you sit there and go, "Yeah, this
Not the ones
is
I've
Ron."
seen.
Yeah, it looks nothing like Solo.
Oh god. But yeah, the thing I think the main difference between
Oh, I was thinking Ron Jeremy. Sorry.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That would make this movie a lot better. I think the main difference between the How the Grinch Stole Christmas and The Cat in the Hat is there's a lot more substance to the story of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Like, it's not really, you can make a lot more out of that story than you can Cat in the Hat, where he just
Yeah.
basically shows up and causes mayhem and fun and then he leaves, which is just, that's the book. And essentially that's the movie.
The book is like what, 15 pages, and it's like 2 lines each.
Yeah,
page?
basically. He's just like, let's have fun. Let's jump on the couch, which happens in this. But I guess they did meet the mark. But like I was saying, you know, there's a big cast. Dakota Fanning, obviously, and this is even at the time that she is like a star. So that was like a big get for them. Alec Baldwin, you know, of Boss Baby fame. Kelly Preston, who actually just passed away last year, but I really like her in this movie. John Travolta's wife. Sean Hayes from Will and Grace. Is that the
Nickelodeon
show that he's on?
movies?
Nickelodeon movies. The Three Stooges
No.
movie.
Oh
that
yeah,
came
Sean
out.
Hayes.
Yeah, he's from Will and
And
Grace,
he's
right?
in a new gay cartoon.
Oh, I actually
Really
thought
good. It's
he
on
was
Netflix.
not gay. I thought he was playing a character, but that's because I was a child, so I didn't really understand. I was like, good for him. But enough stalling about. Let's get right into this. We start in Mr. It's like Flumberblug, real estate office, I guess. It's a weird, I don't know, it's a weird story to go with for this movie. But we meet
I just hate it
Joan.
all.
You know what? I'm gonna, again, I do this all the time. I'm putting the cart before the horse. I love this movie. So
I don't.
You like it
It's-
for one joke.
I like it for multiple jokes. This movie is literally
I
what
like
they
it
did
for
is
threes of jokes.
they said
there
good.
there are a few jokes where I chuckled and I was like, why am I laughing at this?
Because it's funny.
It's a bad movie.
Like you said,
the start of the movie is good. Like
the
I'll
whole
at least say
movie is
that
good.
it's got a good start.
Well, so
But then it just kind of is like, what are we doing here? It's like a relationship where you're only doing it because like you kind of like kissing and going out to dinner with someone. And then you're like, is there actually any point to this? And then you're like, oh. And then you just kind of give up. Me with every relationship, actually.
What happened with this is exactly what Peyton said, is that, you know, the Cat in the Hat book is like 15 pages. So like, how do we pad it out? Let's just put Saturday Night Live sketches for children in like vignettes throughout the movie to make them giggle and laugh. We'll throw in some wildly inappropriate jokes for a children's movie and to bring the parents in, and we'll call it a day. This movie's 80 minutes long, so it's not even feature length.
20 minutes too long.
Damn, some
I'd
might
say
say
it's 80 minutes
too long. I say it's 80 minutes not long enough. Make this a 2-hour epic.
Oh my gosh.
A 3-hour epic.
Make it a trilogy.
Let's break it into
I want a
9
saga.
films.
Let's get Peter Jackson in here
Yeah, exactly.
to do this all.
I do have to say another funny thing is that this is the movie that finally made, which is funny because there was only 2, but this is the movie that made Dr. Seuss's estate go, hey, yeah, no more live action Dr. Seuss movies. They like drew the line here. And then it was years before Illumination started doing their stuff again. Is it strictly Illumination?
or
Dr.
Seuss.
Seuss.
What about that?
I think it's Illumination.
It is Illumination that got the rights
Well-
for it, which is just Illumination is Universal. So Universal already owned the rights. They just told them no more live action. So then they sent it off to Illumination. Do you remember back in the day when everyone wanted to have sex with the Onceler from the what is it, the Lorax movie? No, just
Why?
me. You don't remember? You were on Tumblr, Jarrett. You don't
So
remember
you
that?
wanted to have sex with
I wanted to have
Remember when
sex with
everyone?
the Lorax.
I've been on Tumblr since 2010, but let me tell you, gay Tumblr is actual Tumblr, and straight Tumblr is just chaos.
Really, you
Wait, you
don't
wanted to have
remember when people wanted to have sex
You
with the
wanted to have a
Onceler?
because everyone else was talking about B movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, how bad is B movie? Because I've never seen it. Should we cover it?
It's
It's
actually
pretty funny.
well, I've seen it once. Yeah, we probably could cover
Doesn't
it.
she like marry a bee or something?
Dude, it's about exploitation
No.
of the working class and racism. It's a
Yeah.
really wild
Wow,
movie.
so Bug's Life, but
It's
better.
Bug's Life, but worse. Speaking of Bug's
Oh,
Life, but
oh.
worse.
It's
So we're introduced to Joan Walden, who is the mother, single mother of the two children that we are eventually going to meet, Conrad and Sally. She is a real estate agent for this tyrant, to say the least, played by Sean Hayes, who is a germaphobe. A guy shakes his hand on his first day of work, and he's just like, fired.
I hate it.
That is the worst.
That is the worst. I do hate that I hate that whole storyline.
That whole bit.
But it makes sense because they're establishing how like rigid of a boss he is, because that night Joan is going to be hosting their annual like monthly get together at somebody's house where everyone gets to meet and greet, and he says to her that the last time she did it, her house was a mess, and if it's messy again, she's fired. And
can you fire someone? I guess if it's hosting a work function, but I was gonna say, can you fire someone for their own like home situation?
I don't think so. That sounds like a big HR problem.
Nightmare. I think this is a wherever they live is an at-will employment state. They're just like, yeah, you could get fired. The Onceler
They
told me your
obviously
home
don't
was a
have
mess.
OSHA.
Oh God, no. So we're introduced to Conrad and Sally. Conrad is a troublemaker, just kind of a little shit, and Sally, who is his little sister, is really bossy, a real girl boss,
Uptight.
you might say. So yeah, uptight. She doesn't know how to have fun, and it's that juxtaposition of Conrad only knows how to have fun, and Sally only knows not to have fun. So it's just like, obviously, you know what's going to happen in this movie. They're going to learn how to have fun reasonably. I just had like a revelation in my mind right now about this movie, about why I think I might like it, and it's deeper than I want to go, and it's sad, but it's like, do I like this movie because at the time when I saw it, I really identified with Conrad as a child with undiagnosed ADHD, and I was like always in trouble for just being like, I don't know what's wrong with me, and it's like, did Cat in the Hat speak to me at 10 years old?
Oh,
And
it's
that's
like
why
that
I like
Simpsons
this movie.
episode.
Oh yeah.
When
Which
Bart's
Simpsons?
like, I don't know, I'm trying. When he's trying to get a good
Yes.
grade on the test. And he
Oh
fails,
my
and
God,
he's like,
that's
I don't
me.
know.
And then the threat of going
It's
to
really sad.
military
It's a really
school.
sad episode.
No one ever threatened to send me to
Oh.
military school, but I'm saying the
My
threat of
creepy
it
neighbor never threatened to send me to military school.
My creepy neighbor that's plowing my mom never threatened to send me to military
A creepy
school.
neighbor that I'm not even sure is plowing my mom, but is definitely raiding our fridge and for some reason stealing her beer.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
weird.
This was the first time
I
I've
did
seen this
not
movie.
understand that part.
No, he's just a slob. But this is the first time I've ever watched this movie that I realized he's not her boyfriend. He's a salesman.
I know. That's what
trying
I'm
to
saying.
woo her. This was the first time I realized that. This entire time I thought he was like about to be their stepdad, and then this watch I realized, oh, he's a salesman who needs money bad, so he's trying to sell Joan on military school for Conrad. And
does he get like a profit from sending a child? Like, does he get a cut?
Yeah, he's a salesman.
He must. Otherwise,
he's getting commission.
Yeah. A salesman for military school?
I thought they just call those recruiters.
Yeah. Well,
I know. I was like, isn't that just the army?
And if he was in the military,
I thought they were just using Call of Duty these days. Jeez. This is really guerrilla recruiting. Move in next to her.
Get in
it
there,
seems like he'd
son.
be a better. It'd be better put together if he was a military person.
Yeah,
He's such a
work
slob.
lot
It's like
better.
what?
Well, I think that the slob joke is because we haven't mentioned, but this is Alec Baldwin, and he's like forever been this like handsome man. So the eventual reveal that he's like a fat fucking slob who like gets his his TV repoed and stuff like that, I think is the whole joke is because you as an adult are like, oh, Alec Baldwin, handsome man, like SNL, sweaty balls and all that, and then he goes to his house and he takes his belt off and he's got this fat fucking beer gut and he's just like a disgusting, like he just reeks of bleach if you catch my drift. But this is Lawrence
Because he
Quinn.
bleaches his asshole?
I was gonna say he's covered in cum, but
Oh.
this is Lawrence Quinn.
Like, why?
Conrad keeps calling him Larry, and then he's like, "It's Lawrence, kid." And every time the mom turns her back, Lawrence is like literally on the verge of like committing child abuse against Conrad. Like he's gonna stab him in the face or something. So in the middle of the day while Joan is at work, her babysitter just leaves. So she has to call her backup babysitter, Mrs. Kwan, which this
is where the racism comes in.
Played by Amy Hill, who like if you've seen the movie, you know who I'm talking about. She's in 50 First Dates. She's in Big Fat Liar. She is very prolific. She's been in like 1.5 million things, it looks like. But like I said, you know who she is. I believe she's Japanese. And she's in, and she's on Lilo and Stitch, blah, blah, blah. You know who I'm talking about if you know who I'm talking about. Anyway, she comes over, she got these big fucking glasses, this hair, and she just falls asleep in front of the TV. There's a pretty good joke.
Because she puts on, what?
She turns, like, like this joke. You can hear wrestling in the background, and she falls asleep, and Conrad goes, Taiwanese parliament. Is what he says as she's watching. So she's supposed to be watching, like,
talking about it too.
C-SPAN.
She's like, yeah, get him.
And she's like, get him, no more taxes. Yeah. It's like, it's a weird joke. It's so like out of left field. And that's, like I said, that's one of the reasons why I like this movie so much, is because the humor is so fucking wild. Like that in a children's movie, some weird like, oh, Taiwanese parliament. And it's like, you can hear ding ding in the background and like people hitting each other with shit and all this stuff. I love it. So it starts to rain. Now the kids were told not to like mess up the house. Essentially, their mom is like, all you do is fuck up. I need you to just not fuck up for this one time, please. So they're sitting there looking out the window. They can't go outside because it's raining now. So what are they going to do? And lo and behold, their wishes are granted because they hear a loud thump and they go to look. And in the closet is the Cat in the Hat. I don't know. I don't. For some reason, Mike Myers' character choice was to play the Cat in the Hat as like a New York Jew, and I just don't get why he has like the accent. It's really fucking confusing.
It really killed the entire movie for me.
Is that what kills it for you?
It does. It really does. Because when he does like that character for Cat in the Hat, we know Mike Myers, so we know it's like, we can tell it's an accent because he also switches into other characters with other like accents and bits. And so even his normal Cat in the Hat is still kind of like a character being played by Cat in the Hat rather than just Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
So it just kind of felt like it was still fake.
What you gonna say?
The Grinch was Jim Carrey, basically being
Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Well, this is
this was like Michael Myers playing somebody.
Well, this is kind of. I mean, a lot of what he's doing here, this voice is just a Mike Myers character. I can't think of like right off the top of my head, but I feel like I've seen him do this character 1 million times. And it's
Yeah. Oh
just
yeah.
it's just like
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's why he did it. He was just like, oh, I have a funny voice I can do. Um, this is when he sings the fun song. Um, there is like a couple. Well, there's
F is
actually
for friends that do stuff
yeah,
together. U
exactly.
is
I
for you
thought you
and
Yeah.
didn't
me.
watch
N is for
SpongeBob, you
anywhere,
bitch.
anytime at all, way down in the deep blue sea. I
Essentially,
don't, but I know that song because everyone knows that song.
I do have to say that's a
Down
better
in
fun song than this
deep
one.
blue sea.
What the fuck was that?
I started singing and my throat clogged up. I was like, ah.
Oh my god, that would have made this better. But he's like, you gotta have fun, blah blah blah, right? They offer him some. He's like, oh, before this, he's like, I've been in your house for 10 minutes. You haven't even offered me a drink. And they're like, drunk some milk, and he's like, oh no, I'm lactose intolerant. I can't. So at the end of the song, he drinks some milk and doesn't fart. That's how they trick you with this. This is like supreme tier comedy with the misdirection, because he like burps big, blows everything around. Also, no explanation why, but the fish can talk now too. He couldn't
Right.
before.
Yep. He just randomly does it.
He just is like, hey, get this fucking cat out of the house. This is what he says.
Because and before it's like a normal goldfish. So when they switch over to the CGI one, it's like, why don't you just have the CGI one to begin with?
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I think the fish is voiced by Sean Hayes as well. Like,
It sounds like it.
yeah, he is.
Oh,
He's
it
the
could
fish
be.
as well. Yeah, he's the fish as well. So the fish is kind of like the stick in the mud. It's your Jiminy Cricket, essentially. He's your voice of reason. And another joke that I really like is once Cat introduces himself and the fish is like, get this. He says a rhyme from the book, and then they're like, all right, that's enough Dr. Seuss rhyming for this movie. Get this fish out of here.
So if this whole movie was Dr. Seuss rhyming script, I probably would get like it a little bit more.
That would have been
I
too
probably
hard.
would have shut it off and quit the
Yeah,
podcast.
I would have turned it off a long time ago.
It would have been fun though, like a cool challenge, Like,
Well, there's a
fun.
funny
If they can do Shakespeare, I think they can do Dr. Seuss.
they
I
haven't
don't know
done...
if we should equate those two.
Yeah, one of them's a hack and the other's Dr. Seuss. So there is a funny joke here where Cat is like, all right, we're gonna get rid of this fish because he's annoying. So they put him in the toilet, and as he's gonna drop the fish in the toilet, he's like, please don't, they buried my brother in there. And then he drops him in and he closes the lid on him. So
I think that's when I chuckled at.
it's a good joke. Look, as much as I know it's like, oh, this movie's awful, there is a lot of funny bits throughout it that I do feel carry it, and they're happening fast. The movie's 80 minutes long, so there's like a bit a minute type situation.
It's kind of like a mesh shirt, but it even has holes in it. It just doesn't do it.
So Cat, he puts these like this thing in Conrad and Sally.
Whoa.
They let a pedophile in their house. He's not a cat at all. But it's a fun meter. And there's a joke in this that I'm like, that's not funny. And then there's a joke in it that is funny. Is he puts the fun meter in Sally's ear, and initially it says serial arsonist, and he hits it and it says no fun. And that's kind of funny. But then he puts it in Conrad's ear, and it says serial bedwetter, and he's like, oh, hey, that's okay, Conrad. I everyone has troubles, essentially. And then hits it, and it goes, he's like, I won't tell anyone.
Conrad goes, no, hit it again. Come on.
And then it goes to...
That was the funny part of it.
Yeah,
Conrad was like, no, come on, you hit it for her.
Hit it again. He's like, then it flips over to too much fun, essentially. So what he tells them is they're going to have as much fun as they want. All they got to do is sign a contract, which will guarantee they can have all the fun they want and nothing bad will happen. And then when he puts the contract down on the table, there's like 5 lawyers standing behind him, which is, I like that joke. And they're like, who are they? And he's like, don't worry about it. They sign the contract, and then the cat, he goes into the living room, and again, like I said, wildly inappropriate jokes in this movie. He finds a picture of their mom, but this joke, that fucking honest to God, this joke kills. For as many times as I've seen this movie, this joke makes me laugh every time. There's a framed picture of her, and he's like, oh, whoa, 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 and he picks it up, and when he picks it up, it folds out like a centerfold, and he looks at it, and his hat stands up stiff, and his tail goes all stiff. And then the kids are like, that's our mom. And he's like, oh, just gonna put that away. And like the hat like deflates, and then his tail stops being all stiff.
He tucks his penis back in.
He's got like that weird
His red
cat
rocket.
penis sticking out.
Yeah.
So he's in the living room, and then he's Conrad and Sally. Meanwhile, by the way, every time Kat addresses Conrad, he says his name wrong. He calls him like Constantine, Comrade, like Connor, just every single time. So he goes in the living room.
Normally gets Sally's name right, but he says it wrong once or like twice, which I was like, why did you only do it a couple times for her?
Because he's an equal opportunity roaster. Because he calls her like Susie at one point, and like I don't know.
Like I noticed it once. He calls her Sally most of the time.
Yeah,
but then,
I don't
like
get
another time he says Sally. Whereas like you're constantly not saying Conrad, but like
I think
you're
it's one of the
Sally
jokes that
most of the
just like
time.
fell completely flat. If I'm being honest,
Yeah. It's like if
Yeah,
you're gonna
that's
do it,
most of this
do it
movie.
for both or none.
Hey, Peyton, you take those words back, because one of the weirdest, funniest parts is about to happen right now. So Kat goes in the living room. They're like, don't go in there. And he's like, why? And he's like, Mom told us not to go in there and not to jump on the couch. And he's looking at the couch, and he's like, well, of course you can't jump on this couch. And then turns into a Southern mechanic. And he's like, let's take a look under the hood. And he has a hat on that says cat. And he turns around, and he's got an ass hanging out of his fur.
Oh,
The top of a human butt crack hanging out of his fur. And he's like looking, he's like, oh, and he farts. It's like, and he's like, oh, sorry. And he's like doing the work on it. And an elephant trunk comes out at one point, and he's like, get back, Jumbo, get back. And then he closes it. They jump on the couch. They can like jump like crazy. Meanwhile,
They like defy gravity.
they defy gravity. Yeah, they're flying. Meanwhile, Larry walks in, and that's not weird to him. He's just like, aha, I caught you. Your mom told you not to fucking do that. Even though they're like jumping 85 feet in the air and coming back down effortlessly. He's like, oh, I caught you. Just wait till your mom finds out that I saw you doing this. But then he starts sneezing, because we find out that Larry is allergic to cats, and Cat is hiding on the ceiling like the killer from Malignant hanging in the corner above him. And he's like itching, and all of his fur is like falling out on Larry. And he just starts sneezing, and he leaves. It's weird. It's basically just establishing that like Larry is going to be a thorn in their side for the rest of this.
Is this when Larry comes in and takes
What? No way.
the sandwich and beer?
I think that's
Yeah.
later, because he just comes in, sees
thought it
them
was-
jumping on the couch, he itches, and then they leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's when he starts like you see him slowly like undressing.
Yeah, because he's still
when
nice.
he takes a beer
right now. He's still dressed all nice. He was just coming by to check in on them. So now Sally is like, Kat's like, what do you want to do? And Sally's like, I want to make cupcakes. I'm sorry. I feel so fucking stupid when I laugh at this
sandwich
movie.
and beer.
Is it when is it right now?
Because the
It might
cupcakes
be.
ruin the house with all the spots.
Yes, you're right. Yes, he takes it right now. Yes.
I was like, he did that then. But the
uh,
cupcake is also a great bit.
yes, but like I said,
Yeah, that's a good one.
there's a there's like a Simpsons scene where Homer's reading this manual called Am I Disabled? And it has like a bolt going through this guy's head. Like, and when I watch this, I'm like, am I stupid? why do I laugh so hard at this movie? I was watching it by myself in my in the office on my computer at like 3 in the morning, and I was like laughing up a storm watching this fucking movie, and I was like, what is wrong with me? Because this scene fucking kills. It's so good. So now there's 3 cats. There is salesperson cat in the hat, there's chef cat in the hat, and there's cat who is watching from a studio audience with Conrad and Sally. So they start talking about the Cupcakeinator. And they're like, it's so easy to make cupcakes. And then the sales guy's like, how easy is it? And he's like, so easy. All you have to do is open the Cupcakeinator, basically put in whatever you want. And he's like, do you mean anything? It's like, anything. And he stops him and he's like, what do you say? He's like, I'll kill you. I'll do it. I'll make it look like a bloody accident. It's just like
I think that might be the best line from it. I'll kill you. I'll do it. I'll make it look like a bloody accident.
It's so funny because it's out of nowhere. And then the other cat, blonde salesman cat, he turns to the camera and he's like, huh? And then he's like, you fill the tray, you put it in the oven, and it'll be ready in minutes. And then he's like, did you say minutes? And then he slams the knife down on the table that his tail has been on, and he cuts his tail off. And this is when the movie finally acknowledges that it's not 3 cat in the hats, it's just cat in the hat. Because it cuts to the studio audience, and he's sitting there, and Sally goes, cat, your tail. And he's like, my what? And he looks down, and it's like sliced in half. And why do I feel like he goes, mother? And then it cuts. Does he say that?
He does at some point.
I think he says, I think he goes.
Because is it this part?
Yes, yeah.
Or is it like,
no,
because they cut off later when the inator like goes crazy?
Oh yeah, no. Right now when he cuts his tail off, he goes, mother, and then it cuts to this like, we'll be right back screen, and then there's like this like doo 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 doo, and then it cuts back to Cat, and he's like, I don't know, I'm not saying we have to sue, but I do think we have a case. And he's like talking to his lawyers again. And then he's like, oh, get out, because the camera's like back on now, I guess. I just love that scene. It just really kind of like hits. I don't know, that the humor is just right the entire time. And then eventually they do make cupcakes, but the cupcakes explode and they make a purple gooey mess all over the house, all over their mother's dress, all over the couch, all over
the house, and then Cat in the Hat picks it up.
Oh, that's right.
To clean the mess. And they're like, no, that's our mother's dress. And he's like, oh, but it's dirty.
No, she says, you ruined our mother's dress. And he goes, it was ruined when she bought it, honey. It just, I don't know, man. Again, I'm sitting there being like, what is wrong with me? Again, the family goldfish is like, holy shit, you just ruined the whole fucking house. And Cat is like, don't worry, I got someone who can help us. And he brings out a crate of trans-dimensional horror. Is the only way I can like sum it up. It is the trans-dimensional transportalator, which contains the 2 most fucking horrifying things in this movie. If there's one thing I can say that makes me hate this movie, it's Thing 1 and Thing 2.
Have you seen Thing 1 and Thing 2 without the makeup?
I
saw on IMDb. I did see them. Yes, they're cute.
Yeah.
I think they're children at the time. They were 10 years old.
Yes.
They're terrifying. They're the worst thing about this film.
Yes.
They are terrifying in the movie, but in real life, man, wouldn't be as terrifying.
I think Peyton just turned into a Thing 1 and Thing 2 whatever fetishist.
What is it? Rule 34.
Oh, it exists.
Yeah.
It exists.
Oh, she's from Upland.
Yeah, she's a
Okay,
local.
cool. You gonna go ask her out?
You gonna find her on Tinder?
No, I mean she.
Hey,
she is our age.
Daniel C. Ryan, if you're out there, hit Peyton up. So yeah, they speak in really weird ways. And Kat gives you the naming dimensions. He's like, oh, this is thing 1 and this is thing 2. Thing 1 would prefer you don't call them thing 2, and thing 2 would prefer you don't call them thing 1. But thing 1 is okay with, or thing 2 is okay if you call them thing 1, but would prefer if you call them thing 2. Or Chocolate Thunder is like the name that he says, and he's like, and then it's like, ooh, Chocolate Thunder. I hate the fucking way they talk. I really do.
I hate the voice. I hate the way they move. It's like all that sped up stuff, and it's like, and I just want to die when I hear that shit.
Wow.
Hey, be careful.
I found thing 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say, be careful acting like that. You're gonna give Peyton a boner.
Ew.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. It's a different kind of boner.
He goes on a date. He's like, "Can you say?" That's the only way this will work for me.
And there's thing 4. Look at that.
And there's thing 6-inch. So,
and there's thing wide open.
Thing 1 and thing 2
Thing taking it.
Thing 1 and thing 2 proceed to destroy the house. And Conrad was already told there's a lock on this thing that's like a crab. And he's told, don't open or it's not on there yet. He said, don't open that. If you do, all chaos will break loose. So he sneaks over to the crate. Kat catches him, tells him that, puts this little lock on there. And then Conrad goes over there, takes the lock off. Somehow he picks it. I don't get how he knew how to pick a lock. But then the lock ends up on the collar.
Did he say that the box is made in the Philippines?
Yes. He's like,
yeah, but not your Philippines, my Philippines. I was like, what does that mean?
That joke is funny. he's like, this is my trans-dimensional transportal Potter. It contains where I come from, my world. And then he's like, but it says it's made in the Philippines. He's like, yeah, but not your Philippines, my Philippines. That's the joke. Is that it's absurd. So the lock jumps off and it ends up on their dog's collar. And they're yelling to catch the dog, catch the dog, catch the dog. Thing 1 and thing 2, grab the dog and chuck him out the window. And Sally freaks out. This is also kind of when we learned from Kat that the things only do the opposite of what you tell them. Nudge,
and
nudge.
It takes the kids so long to figure that out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where they're like, they're like, stop destroying the house, and then they keep destroying the house, and they're like, ugh, what's happening? And I'm like, he literally just told you the only rule pertaining to them.
I do know that when this is like, once this is revealed to the children from thing 1 and thing 2, and he's like, they only do the opposite of what you ask them. Later in the movie, Sally makes a comment that's like, oh my God, that's so annoying. Why do you always do the opposite of what you're asked? And then like Kat gives like a wink to the camera. Like, you see, that's the lesson they're going to learn as children is, this is what happens when you don't listen to what you're being asked.
She says it in like a different way though, where she's like, how come every time someone doesn't want you to ruin something, you find a way to ruin it?
Yes.
Where it's like not so blatant, but it is like, if you're paying attention as a child, you'll see it. If you're an adult, you're like, I get it.
Yeah, I'm sure like a parent in the theater at this point like grabbed their kid and like shook him and was like, see what it's like? Like when fucking
the shoulders and was like, I fucking want to say I hate you, but you're my child.
Grabs the kid, he's like, you're like thing 1 and thing 2. I wish Cat and that would take you away.
Smacks him on the head. Instead, I can't even get DCSF to take you away.
Jesus Christ, this got dark.
Is that it? Yeah, Department of Children and Family Services. DCFS. Yeah, I got it right. Oh shit.
There you go. But while Sally's worrying about the fact that the house is ruined, Kat is like, oh yeah, here's a worse thing. That crate's gonna pop open and your world and my world are gonna mesh.
That
so we need to
pussy gonna be popping.
So
with purple stuff.
Oh yeah.
See a
I do have
doctor.
to say, when they go to the cat's dimension, it just reminds me of Fluke's Fluglies from Spy Kids. That's what like this entire like sequence looks like without the thumb people, obviously.
We'll get there.
So they need to find a way to keep the crate shut. So they put Mrs. Kwan on top of it, and that's like how tired she is, or how asleep she is. She doesn't even notice. So meanwhile, this is when you
That's
finally.
like if someone asked me to babysit over the pandemic, that would have been me. Where it's like, I can't be bothered. I'm so tired. And they're like, you've done nothing in your babysitting, and I'm like, shh, let me sleep.
I can't. Taiwanese Parliament's on at that time.
Yeah. Ugh, I can't. There's a really good gay show on at that time.
It's called Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
So this is when we find out that Larry is fucking gross, and he gets his TV repoed from him. We also learn that the whole reason he's trying to marry Joan is so that he can get her money. Kind of a nice little flip on that, honestly, of like, you know, at least it's not like a woman this time trying to marry a man for his money. It's this like fat fucking slob piece of shit. So hold on. Oh, okay. So Larry sees Nevins running down the street, and he's already helped catch Nevins before, and this just basically means that the kids are up to no good. So he's gonna go get Nevins so that he can go, go to Joan and be like, "Look, your kids are messing up again. Time to send them to whatever." And so they take off. So as they are sneaking to try and go get the dog, the children and cat, they come across a kid's birthday party. And this scene is really sad, honestly, because it's like Sally's best friend, quote unquote, and she wasn't invited to the birthday party because she's no fucking fun. So they need to get, is it the lock here? I can't even remember why they end up at this fucking party in this scene. But in order
they were going through the house or like the yard, and the kids like came over for the piñata, and to hide, Kat took the place of the piñata, and then then hilarity ensues.
Okay, thank you. I was gonna say, Peyton, you have to admit this fucking scene is hilarious. So
I only laughed at this part because of the memes.
Then with the bat,
whole, like the cat with the baseball bat. Yeah, I was like, that's the only reason I'm funny.
Okay,
it's funny.
Cat's on the piñata, and he's getting the shit beat out of him by all these kids with bats. And then Beans from Even Stevens walks
God,
up.
I fucking hate Beans.
That's who my cat's named after. So Beans comes up, and he hits Cat in the crotch. And this joke is, I don't care who you are laughing at the fucking timing and editing of this joke, because he gets hit in the crotch with this bat and he screams for like a millisecond, and then it cuts into Easy, Easy like Sunday morning, and he's and he's swinging on a swing as a girl. Cat is like in this like this like vision. He's got like braids and like a dress, and he's like, and then it cuts back and he's still screaming. So the kids throw candy out to distract the children, and then that's where the meme comes from. Cat grabs a bat and he's like, and he's gonna hit
like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, he's gonna kill the kid. I can't remember how it happens, but there's a really good joke where the cat says "dirty hoe," and he has a gardening hoe in his hand.
Oh yeah.
He's like,
no.
And he's like, "I'm sorry, baby, I could never quit you." And he kisses it, and he goes, his stupid fucking laugh, and they leave. So Larry.
Oh man, I remember when the movie came out, and that joke was like such a big controversy.
The
Do you guys
dirty
remember
hoe?
that?
Oh yeah, because it's like, holy fuck, that's not even like a nuanced like adult joke. That's straight up just saying the shit, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. All the parents in my hometown were like, "Oh my gosh!"
To me, it's one of those kind of jokes that equates to like, "Stop being a jackass. You're acting like a donkey," and it's like, okay, and it's like it's just the same word.
I think it's really just like because hoe is such a like holy shit, and then instead of burying the joke at that point instead of being like dirty hoe, and then he picks it up and drops it. He goes, I'm sorry, I can't quit you, baby. Like that takes it back to that whole level that like, no, that's what he meant.
It makes it funny.
So meanwhile, Larry is running to Joan's office with the dog, and Conrad and Sally catch up to Larry in this car that looks like a Hummer at first, and then they pull it off, and it's the super luxurious omnidirectional whatchamajigger, which means slow. And they're like, slow? And he's like, oh yeah, it's better than what it used to be called, super hydraulic instantaneous transporter. And they're like, shh, and he's like, and then he's like, let's go. And they get in it, they drive away. As soon as they get to like where their mom's office is, they crash and it falls apart. They're like, okay, we need to find a way to get Larry to give you Nevins. So they come with this idea that Cat is going to pose as a Greenpeace like petition signer.
Rastafarian.
Yeah, and he's got like a pierced nose, he's got dreads, he's got a huge hat. I mean, he already has a huge hat, but he has like a Rasta hat. And
that was the funniest part about this movie was you going, and he's got a huge hat. Well, he's already got a huge hat.
So I do like this joke again. He's like, hey, would you sign my petition to save the flurba-durba-darba-durba? Some stupid thing that I know is from a Dr. Seuss book. And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And he's like, all right, just sign it with this huge pen that you need 2 hands for. And it says on the pen, like, enormous pen that you need 2 hands for. And he hands him it. And he's like, oh, here, hold my dog. He holds the dog and he runs. They start running away. This part is weird. They cut through an underground rave
which
like,
I'm pretty sure was all cast with exclusively like Asian actors and actresses.
Yeah, Paris Hilton's my favorite Asian
no one else
actor and
notice
actress.
Well,
I did notice it's like all
but then
Asian
she
people.
appears.
Yes, she appears. Cat bumps into someone down there. The only
But
important thing
oddly
is
enough, that makes sense with Paris Hilton because she's a really popular DJ in the rave scene.
I don't think that's why she's there. I think she was in between
No, it
checks
is,
from
like-
House of Wax and The Simple Life.
And Simple Life.
No, that's when
Yeah.
she was getting her career started as a DJ. And that's
I
kind of
wish-
like all she really wanted to do. She wanted to be a club scene kid and like her own way, but media took it all in a weird direction. It's really interesting. I do love Paris Hilton. You should watch her documentaries.
I do think in this scene, she's more like, let's make a part 2 to my sex tape, Cat in the Hat, because they have like a weird chemistry there with each other. One night in the hat. So the whole point of this is that Cat's hat gets knocked off. He grabs a hat because there's people down there dressed like him, and they leave.
It's like a Dr. Seuss rave.
Yeah. So meanwhile, they at the house, it went fucking nuts. These bubbles turned everything into essentially like the mixed up world that Cat is from. When they get there, Larry, hold on. Okay.
What is it?
When they get there, Larry gets there first with Joan, even though they got like pulled over by the things pretending to be cops, and then they're like choking on a ticket. I fucking hate anything with the things, so it's whatever. But
yeah. Well, Joan was left there. He left Joan.
Oh yeah, he got out and ran. And he goes to the house, and she gets there with him, and he's like, look, your kids destroyed the house. And he opens the door, and the house isn't destroyed.
No, Joan's not there yet.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
No, she's still tied up with the cops.
Not like, physically tied up. We do have to clarify that with a movie like this. She is not physically tied up.
She's having a freeway with the
situationally
things.
Tied up.
Yeah, thing 1, thing 2 had their way.
Which makes it a 3-thing way.
A thing-some. So
Ew.
Larry goes into the house, and he's like, what the fuck?
That's when... Nope, never mind.
Go ahead, say it. I want to hear what you had to say. Say it.
3 non-binary people get together for a good romping.
A
thing-some.
Hey, you want to get together and slap?
I'm sorry if that's
things?
really offensive to non-binary.
I think at that point it's a trinary.
No, I think it's a non-binary trinary. Non-binary trinary?
That was good, Faden. God damn. You should
Hey,
write
you
Cat
gotta,
in the Hat too.
contribute somehow.
Uh,
Hey, I could.
so Larry comes in the house
Never
and he's
get
like,
an 8%.
what the fuck? This house isn't ruined. But it's because it's like a weird like scrim and he falls to his death. Never to be seen again. So when they
Unfortunately, that is a lie.
that is a lie, yeah. Essentially the kids get back and they're like, oh fuck. And he's like, yeah, I told you guys, this is like the mother of all messes has happened. So
Well,
we get a
Cat
lot
in
of
the Hat says this is like pure unrestrained fun, which I was
Yeah.
like, okay, but that is not the same as Conrad, which is kind of what you called him.
Well,
I'm
I
like,
mean, think about this,
picking
right?
and choosing your own rules there, Cat.
No. Think about this, right? It kind of is because it's pure chaos at the expense or at the expense of other people purely for fun,
Oh,
which
true.
Conrad does in the beginning of the movie, where he rides that like sled down the stairs and like messes up the groceries for his mom, like ruins all this kind of stuff. Like he is literally that is what it is. Like he causes all kinds of chaos. Another funny one is his mom is like, please don't answer the phone as City Morgue. And the phone rings earlier and Cat in the Hat's like, City Morgue. So there's a lot of weird shit going on in the house. This is where my favorite joke of the movie comes, where they ride Miss Kwan like a Splash Mountain log. And as they're going down,
Whoa.
not like that. They physically ride her. And as
Whoa.
and as they're going through a log flume, Conrad goes, "Oh my god, this is like a ride." And Kat goes, "Kind of like one you would ride at." And he turns the camera. The whole movie stops, and he's like, "Universal Studios." Ka-ching, and then the scene continues again as he holds up maps for the Universal Studio parks.
Doesn't he say Universal Studios in Orlando and Hollywood?
Maybe he does say that, but it's still so fucking funny.
It's hilarious.
It kind of reminds me of the joke from Wayne's World where they're like, "Who would sell out like that?" And they like have all those like product placements on them.
This whole scenario is giving me a headache. Oh, you have a headache? Here, take an Advil. Little, yellow, different.
So,
it's like no one's got originality anymore, man.
It's like a whole generation of strays.
You know what made this movie better? If Dana Carvey showed up. If he was one of the things, but he was Dana Carvey.
Dana Carvey should have played the fish.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah, things would have worked well.
Yeah. No, I'm talking like one regular size thing and one thing that looks like Garth.
I think you're going to say one regular size thing and one Dana Carvey size thing.
Which is Dana Carvey. And he's dressed as a turtle.
I thought you were going to say turd.
Why?
He's dressed as
just
a turd.
Shit.
So because he's a thing too. Get it?
Oh, I get it. Okay. There is another funny visual thing where they see the toilet and there's fire coming out of it, and he's like, "You might want to wait to use that." So this is when everything's going nuts, and Conrad, Aunt Sally have basically had enough with Cat because he's not doing anything. They like berate the cat because he said you would fix things, blah 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 blah, and then Cat confesses to them that this was his plan, because he's like, I knew Conrad wouldn't be able to resist opening the crate, and I knew Sally couldn't resist controlling the entire day. And then another funny joke, like, "Oh, did you plan cutting your tail off?" And he's like, "No." So so he's pretty upset because they just like yelled at him. They're like, "I can't believe you would let us do that. Like, what the hell's your problem? You set us up for failure." And he's, they're really upset with him, and he says, "I thought you guys just wanted to have fun. That's what I'm here for." And Conrad tells him it's fun to have fun, but you have to know how, which is one of the lyrics from the song earlier. and that Cat
That
doesn't know.
sounds like it's from Cat in the Hat,
I think it
but
is.
it's not. I think it just has. Is it?
Yeah, I
It's
think it's
fun to
from. I
have
think
fun,
it.
but you have to know how.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, your mom will have a cow. And then it shows the mom birthing a cow, but like in
Oh my
Dr.
god!
Seuss
And it's like
like
really
style
graphic
animation, and
Yeah.
it's like, ooh.
So, and he tells Kat, "You don't know when enough is enough." Which again, wink, wink. This is what he's saying, but also like this is where some of the problems with this plot come from because this is like that parental gaslighting of like setting your children
Yeah.
up to do something you know they're gonna do and then punishing them because they did it, which is like fucked up to say the least. But Kat walks out all sad, and basically Sally and Conrad go, "You know what? We messed up. This was our fault. We'll take the blame together. We'll tell mom that
Oh,
it was us."
because we forgot they do close the box. The house does return to normal, but then the
But it
entire house
falls
basically
apart.
collapses around them. We did skip that part.
Yes,
So
the
now
house
like
falls apart.
everything's back in the box, but the house is like ruined. Like even the staircase has like broken in half.
Yeah, and the brother and sister have this heartwarming moment where they're like, "You know what? You're a good brother and
Mm,
you're a good sister and I love you, you know, and all that. We'll take the blame together." And then Kat comes back in with thing 1 and thing 2 with this like cleaning machine, kind of reminds me of the Tubby Custard machine from Teletubbies, called the Dynamic Industrial
yeah.
Renovating Tractor Majigger, or DIRT. And he basically tells them that like, "Hey, when you open the crate, you rendered the contract null and void." And
But
yes.
well, that's what Cat in the Hat says. He says, but.
Oh yeah.
Cat in the Hat goes, but.
And oh yeah, he goes, "But it could be." Yeah, you're right, because he says you rendered the contract, so therefore I couldn't fix it for you. However, there was another clause inside of it that it could be reinstated if Sally and Conrad have learned from their mistakes. So they start cleaning up the house. The whole house is fixed. And they thank
Don't they
Kat.
get out their little?
Oh, when the house
mind.
comes back to normal, it poops out the neighbor.
Yeah, he comes out of the literally
Yeah,
like the
that's right.
hose
He's
spigot covered in purple
And he's
goo.
covered in all of the purple cupcakes. He's covered in the purple cupcake goo.
He's
it had to go
Ivan
somewhere.
Ooze now.
He's Ivan lose.
Dang.
And then the Power Rangers come in.
And they have sex
And
with
he's
the
like,
things.
Play
That's
the
that's all I can think happens in this movie now is the things are like sex crazed.
Oh my god.
So then the Cat and the things, they like sneak out through the back door. The mom shows up. Miss Kwan wakes up and she's like, "Oh, your children are angels." And then Larry busts in. He's covered in the goo and he's like, and Joan's like, "Fuck off."
He's
you
thing
slob."
3.
you don't know the things I've seen. That would have been a good
The
joke,
ones and the
actually.
twos things I've seen.
So she basically kicks him to the curb.
And then he becomes a Cat in the Hat.
Oh my god, that's how it works. It's like a curse. He starts being like,
Yeah.
It's like
No,
very
he
violent
becomes the
body
rat
horror.
that shat. The rat covered in shat. That's who he becomes.
Joan has her party. It goes off well. Mr. Flumberbluger or whatever his name is like, "This is a great party." And then they eat cupcakes and they're like, "Wow,
The
these
great
cupcakes-"
party.
And then he's like, the mom's like, "Wow, these cupcakes are really good. How'd you make them?" And she's like, "You can make cupcakes out of anything." And Sally and Conrad are like,
Anything?
"Oh yeah," he says, "Anything." And she's like, "Anything." And they all laugh and they're like, "Yeah, we put shit in these." We ground up a thing and
then
put them
is
in here.
Yeah.
But
Is the end of the movie just them jumping on the couch?
yeah, the mom and them jump on the couch because then the mom learns to have fun with her kids too. And then as they're walking away, the Cat and the things are like, "What should we do? We should go on vacation. Let's go for a few weeks to Hawaii." And they walk off into the sunset. And then the movie ends with what I think is another cover of a 60s song by Smash Mouth, which is like, what is up with Mike Myers and 60s songs covered by Smash Mouth in his films? I don't understand what the link between this and Shrek is, but okay. And yeah, that's Cat in the Hat. I love it so much. I really do.
It's
We
a
laughed
very
a lot.
interesting one.
Hey, there's far worse out there. All right. Do you remember the Phantom? Anyway, so that brings us to the Jaws scale.
Rocketman?
Oh my God. There's a scene in Malignant that reminded me of Rocketman when I was watching it last night. When the hospital
That is
bed
a
ends up on the
stretch.
girl. No, when the hospital bed ends up on the girl, and she's like, "You can't lift it; it's too heavy." And she's like, "It was my body all along." And she like lifts it up off of her. I was
Yeah.
like,
Call me mommy.
"Call me mommy." If you have not seen Malignant, I think we're gonna do like a small thing about it, but go watch it.
We'll
'cause
do a
holy
special.
shit. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll do a
God.
supply drop.
Supply drop. That's the theme
I like
song.
that.
All right. So that brings us to the Jaws scale. For those of you who are not familiar, we rate the movies on this show on a scale of Jaws to Jaws 4. It's pretty self-explanatory. Let's start with you, Peyton.
Oh man. I'm gonna go 4.
No, you would think this is unwatchable.
I don't know. I'm like between a 3 and a 4. It's somewhat watchable just because if you want to watch Mike Myers' career start to downfall, this is where you start. But it's just not I mean it has its points where it's funny, but it's not like well thought out funny, and I don't know. It just doesn't, much like the book, it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, but I was going to
The
say
book has 15 pages.
Yeah, I know. It's
and
funny
it's a
to me.
children's book. It's allowed to be all over the place.
It's funny to me because
Yeah, but this was just not done well.
it's funny to me because you can think of this movie in the same way of Mike Myers' career. Is like Mike Myers' career fell apart for literally doing what Mike Myers is expected to do. Is like this is just a Mike Myers movie through and through. If he had big teeth and was talking with an English accent, this could literally just be another Austin Powers movie. He's playing multiple characters. He does a Scottish accent at one point. It's just
And if he said swing or was on a public radio show or TV show,
then it would be
it'd
good.
be Wayne's World.
Okay.
It would be good.
All right, so you're giving it a 3. All right, Jarrett, tossing it over to you, hoping for better here.
Why do you get to go last every time? Just kidding. I love the attention. Yeah, no, I'm not even going to try and like half it through one or the other. It's a Jaws 4 because it's a bunch of weak jokes. Not weak. Par jokes with some birdies and eagles mixed in there. I don't know why I'm going with the golf theme.
Have you been playing Mario Golf or something? You're like, yeah, I got to use a golf analogy.
I just love golfing things. And I hate
golf
golf.
clap in the background.
Yeah. Like, don't you know?
Not for this movie. This movie doesn't even get a golf clap.
No, for your metaphor.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So what you're saying is that Mike Myers in Austin Powers is Tiger Woods' early career, and this is Tiger Woods now. Is what you're using.
This
for
is
your
Tiger
golf
Woods.
analogy.
It is.
No, this is Tiger Woods. When the police cars were on the way to his car accident.
I was gonna say, is this Tiger Woods when his ex-wife threw that golf club through the back of his car while he like sped off?
No, I was talking about, what was it, 2 years ago when he had his drunk driving in the morning accident or something?
Dog, that was like a year ago.
No, that was last year.
That was during pandemic?
Yes, it was just recently.
Yeah.
He was on his way to play golf.
He was driving 80 miles per hour.
Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers killed a guy, didn't he? Where are we with this analogy?
I thought we worked with Aaron Rodgers. I thought he was in our department.
Anyway, I'm giving
it's a Jaws 4 for me.
Okay. 4? Yeah. What the fuck was that? Okay.
You'll never know.
Not to sound like Peyton.
I've heard that before.
But speaking purely from like nostalgia, I think.
Oh my God. Roasted on the podcast.
I see the tables have turned.
Not even from nostalgia, to be honest. I'm just going to give it a 2 because I do genuinely enjoy this movie. It's just one. I don't know how to explain it. I enjoy it. It's not great. I laugh a lot at it. I like Mike Myers in it. but like, yeah, it's not. I wouldn't give it a 1. I'm not saying like, it's the greatest thing ever, but I do think it has its merits. It's pretty funny, so I'll give it a 2. I think, what does that average out to? A 3 then? 2, 4, 4, something like that. Yeah, I'm not a mathematician, so
I think it's more of a 3.5. But all right.
Is it a 3.5?
Yeah, it's a 3.333. It's a
That's okay.
3.333.
All right, that's a fair. I think that's a fair
3.34,
ranking
but
So basically a 3 from all of us. That's a happy place to be. Shut the fuck up. So
I'm just at this point, I'm really glad that I never had from a nostalgia point, because my nostalgia point is Scooby-Doo, and we all agreed it was pretty good.
It's a good
So
one.
like,
just
yes, I win.
Scooby-Doo
Power
Monsters
Rangers the movie,
Unleashed.
because that's also a great one.
That's a
Scooby-Doo
bad
Monsters
thing.
Unleashed is better than the first.
It is, actually. I just recently rewatched it. Just
Yeah,
wait till
it's
we
so good. I
watch
gotta watch that one.
Malignant, and then we all have to figure out how to rank that movie. Because
that movie is a Jaws 4 through 1 plus Cruel Jaws.
No, it's just a Cruel Jaws.
It has its moments where it's a Jaws.
It is a Cruel Jaws. That's
yes, because it's so bad it's good.
It is standalone.
We're getting ahead of ourselves because no one's going to want to listen to the episode about it. But yes, that's Cat in the Hat 2003. Hope you enjoyed it. Let's see. Housekeeping. Join us next week for the next in our Bargain Bonanza saga, kicking off the Halloween season. Ooh, with Resident Evil 1 through 3, which should be fun because I think 1 is the only good one, and then it just really goes off the rails after that. And
what's
then
her name? Mila Kirkovich?
Mila Jovovich.
Jovovich.
She eventually married the director.
Oh, that's from Happy Endings?
It is.
Oh my god. So
that's a great TV show. But Mila makes all those movies. I love those movies because of her, because I'm a gay man.
Well, yes.
And I love an action model.
And you're so turned on by Nemesis. You're like, I wonder what the wiener looks like if the tongue looks like that. Ooh.
Yeah.
So
wait, is this the one with the Umbrella Corporation?
That's all Resident Evil.
Oh, I fuck with the Umbrella Corporation.
So, yes, join us in 2 weeks for Bargain Bonanza, Resident Evil 1 through 3. And then again, 2 weeks after that, kicking off again, just our Halloween season, will be Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which I'm so excited about. I fucking love that movie so much. And I don't know, I'll just tell you the rest, because then after that, it's Puppet Master 2. Halloween season, that's going to be in that episode's like the first week of November, but whatever. So yeah, those are our next 3 episodes. I hope you guys are looking forward to them. Like I said, I love Halloween 3 so much. I'm so excited to talk about it. And find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Bombs Away Show. linktr.ee/Bombs Away Podcast, so you can find all merchandise and links to everything else.
We got those cool shirts.
Oh yeah, you got yours.
We should make a Halloween one. I did. It's really soft.
Ooh. Oh yeah,
it's nice.
We could make a
premium.
Halloween
That's
one.
for sure. It's good.
We
should.
And then let's see. Yeah, that's it, right? Everything covered? Peyton, you're always
YouTube?
the one to be like, yeah, that's... Oh, yes, YouTube. Find us on YouTube. I have not uploaded on YouTube in a little while because I was waiting for the Friday the 13th episode to just sit there a little bit. So now there's just going to be a massive dump of the rest of the episodes on there at once. But yeah, I think that covers it, right?
Our Halloween 3 episode is going to be a live episode on YouTube with all 3 of us dressed as one of the 3 masks. So look forward to that. Just kidding. What if I just subscribed us to something horrible to do?
Shit,
where it's like, you got to dress up as a pumpkin.
I think you just did.
I would do that.
I call witch.
On the pumpkin
I call
mask.
witch.
I'll do skeleton.
Peyton will be the mask when all the bugs come out of it. The bugs and the rattlesnake.
It's just a bunch of those spider rings taped to his face with like one of those weird wooden snakes.
I'll be a sex doll come to life. All right. Well, yes, that does it for us.
Yourself.
That does it for us here at Bombs Away. Thank you guys so much. See you in 2 weeks for Resident Evil 1 through 3. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.